Gothic. Gothic. Where do I even begin? The original classic German video game from 2001, made by Piranha Bytes, is a cult game in Central Europe. The fanbase of this franchise is so huge that it actually managed to pull off the title of a bestseller on Steam in the first week after the release. It's called phenomenal for a reason. Companies such as Warhorse or CDPR are openly talking about being inspired by Gothic. This RPG is so close to my heart. It's actually the first game that I remember playing on my desktop. I've been also a part of Polish community of Gothic for, well, nearly a decade, taking part in streaming the game, reviewing the modifications to it, or even voice acting in them.
Kto śmie przeszkadzać mi w moich studiach?
Therefore, I treat this game as an absolute gem in my history, in my library. Now, you surely understand that reviewing the remake won't be easy, and it won't be pretty, but I promise you one thing. It will be fair and coherent take on what remake of my beloved game has to offer. But before we begin, I'll take you on a journey on how the 50-people studio managed to pull that off. In 2019, THQ Nordic released a playable teaser of the game to test the interest of the players. And the teaser, well, it was shit. It really wasn't good. The mechanics of fighting, the narration of the game, even the character's design, from what I remember, it was lacking in all the aspects. But it proved one thing. Gothic fanbase is dedicated and huge. The publisher received a lot of feedback coming in their service. I myself also completed one of them.
The king sent out the best magicians of the kingdom to create a magic barrier around the entire valley.
We all criticized the teaser for what it was. A change of formula, a modernization of Gothic. The majority of the fanbase didn't really like it, but the teaser did the job. It brought us together on board. We shared our feelings of how the remake of this fantastic game should look and feel like. And THQ listened, so we can be proud. The success of Gothic Remake, because clearly we're talking about success story here, is part of our own achievement. Players themselves also pushed the project forward. So THQ decided to proceed with the idea of remaking the game, and they have built, as I said, a 50-people team based in Barcelona, which later they named
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
The anticipation of remake was fairly big enough to keep the developers motivated on working at the project. They keep quiet from time to time, updating us with the concept arts, visuals, and Christmas wishes. In 2022, we have received a first look at the Gothic Remake, the old mine location to be specific. It looked good, believable, lived. So, obviously, it started getting serious. In the meantime, THQ's team also worked on making the classic Gothic games playable on consoles, starting with Nintendo Switch, and later introducing the ports of the game to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. They wanted to remind the players of the franchise. It was honestly a bullseye move. Reliving the story once again, this time playing on Nintendo, gave me a true hope that developers know what they're doing, considering they played the classic themselves. Later we got the first look at the old camp. A collector's edition came soon after. It spiked a little controversy, and obviously the marketing from now on got bigger and bigger. But to my liking, they also made a making-of series, in which they talked about their experiences with Gothic. And truthfully, that guy, with just one sentence, sold the game to me.
And for the future, I would like to play Gothic Remake in 20 years with Aran, with my son. He's 2 years old now, but maybe in 15 years or 16 years, we can play together. And I say, okay, Papa, you did this? And I say, yeah. But yeah, maybe in 10 years, we can play together to this.
From now on, I didn't believe. I simply knew that the game they're producing, well, they're putting their heart and soul into it. The question, however, still remained. Will it be enough? Enough talent? Enough abilities? Are they capable of recreating the magic of the colony? And I won't keep you waiting any longer. Yes, these guys, they did it. They actually pulled it off.
Don't play with me. You ain't got that much.
I have. I'm looking for folks to put in a good word for me.
That's the spirit. Well done, mate.
Show me what you have. I could have done it better.
Good job. Let's see, what else?
You can get your piece of the cake, too. All you have to do is join our camp.
Welcome to the colony.
Gothic Remake is a Gothic game in the bare bones, for better or worse. After completing the story and the game, I told myself, wow, I feel like I'm 6 years old again. I felt this carefree joy. I smashed that game for hours and hours. After the completion, I had 80 hours in it, and I could not believe that Gothic is finally back. From the first moments you're put into the game to the last minute of it, you feel like you're in this dark fantasy world, surrounded by criminals, orcs, and other monsters. And all of it can rob you or kill you if you're not careful. Seems like Europe 2013. Sorry. Too much politics lately. Too much is happening around the world for sure. But we came here for Gothic reviews, so what separates this RPG from the others is the fact that you're literally starting as nobody, and in time you're learning everything. Pickpocketing, lockpicking, which is ridiculously difficult, hunting, there are even climbing, acrobatic, diving, things like that. But the main thing is, there are multiple ways of playstyle actually. You can use your bow, magic or sword to get through enemies. In time, you're gaining a godlike power, learning that these stiff sword fighting animations at the beginning are just something that you have to push through, because proceeding to the next level, well, you learn how to handle the weapon better, and the final stage of the two-hand sword is beautiful. Magic is set around these inner circles. In short, the more points you spend on developing each fighting skill, the better it gets. Therefore the whole fighting got an overhaul, and it is nicely done. The sword duels are more set around tactical clashes. An enemy attacks you, you dodge or parry, then when he exhausts all the moves, you swipe back. It's a very simple, a little stiff, but satisfying way of dealing with the enemy. When guys from Alkimia will work on remake of Gothic 2, they should consider making it more fluid, with a little bit more options to play around with. Magic looks and works different as well. You can get the rune of Firebolt in first chapter and just burn all the enemies on the way through. Then you proceed to learn new spells, craft scrolls, get into higher circles of magic. It all gives you this idea of progression. You're getting more powerful by each hour. But just as you're getting a little bit too cocky, the game can, and surely will, punish you. The progress here is simply so well done that no other RPG that I played gave me the same vibe, and it just fits with the narration of the world, because after all, you play as a nameless hero who no one ever heard of. You get a beating just at the beginning, and the game keeps on punching you till the end. It is a difficult experience, but so rewarding. You learn from people, your trainers, but to find them, you gotta talk to the individual NPCs. Remember their names. Same goes for locations. There is a world map, but you have to buy it. And even then, you need a good orientation in the field to find certain places. If you get lost and the night is coming, you can feel the dread, because the environment leaves. Bodies of slain enemies decompose. The nights are dark. Weather can kill you. I actually really like the implementation of the weather circumstances, like there is a sandstorm at the Orklands, for example, or the lightning during the storm can literally strike you. The exploration is highly rewarding. The locations were rebuilt for the purposes of the remake, and they look spectacular. There is a lot of backtracking, but creators provided us with a mount and other logistics methods to counter that, like scrolls, for example, of transformation. I wasn't a fan of the changes Alkimia implemented in the story though. For instance, nameless hero is learning the truth about the Sleeper just from the murals in the graveyard. This doesn't work well as a narration point in my opinion, because it takes away this big plot twist, which was revealed to us by Xardas, the necromancer. It also strips him of his importance. I think this was done to keep the players engaged in the story, but the whole mystery about the 𝐌𝐞𝐫𝐿 just vaporized. On the other hand, we have much more quests surrounding the whole pack. Lester, Gorn, Diego and Milton. And they're quite well portrayed. I really like the fact that they met with each other in certain locations, and that we could go through this journey with them. There is also a way to explain Satras that the plan water mages have came up with is just not going to work. Or even there is a way to save Gomez. By the way, will the expansion to Gothic 2 be named Night of the Gomez? Not a bad idea. There are things that I'm glad they've introduced, but on the same spectrum, the 𝐌𝐞𝐫𝐿 is getting useless after chapter 3. And you can tell the life there is poorly simulated because the people living there have the same routines after and prior to Sleeper Awakening ritual. Imagine leader of the cult dies. Some of the people would just go mad, and some of them would leave the camp, join up with the others. But really, nothing happens there. No change whatsoever. There are things Alkimia haven't touched upon, even when they should have, like getting bold while joining the 𝐌𝐞𝐫𝐿. And yes, I heard these stories of old players complaining about it, because it's not canonical, or whatever. It's not canon. Goddamn. But why wouldn't the studio just give us, all the players, choice in the first place? If you don't want to go bold, don't. Getting into the sect could look much more interesting. There should be more quests, more content in the game overall, But instead, it all goes bleak when you compare it to the classic. All except the orc culture, which is quite cool. They all have their own language, and their enclave seems more lived in. They still resemble the primitive clan comparing it to the orcs from the continent, but they're more spiritual, more enticing in a way. The sleeper tempo is interesting as hell. The logical games there are simple and the kid could solve them. But still, much gratifying encounters, and the whole architecture are just precious. The acting, well, I played in the English version. It's fine. The lines are very well delivered, especially the 𝐿𝐴 character.
I don't care what a dead man, a heretic, or some bloody mural says. I believe, anger. And if this is all it takes to break your faith, you were never a true believer to begin with.
Tell me, and don't lie. What are you after? Most guys in here just try to find their crew and scrape by. Why are you so eager to get killed? Guess I just like the thrill of it. A death chaser, then? Interesting. Didn't peg you for one.
Beely as balls. You just show up everywhere, don't you?
I have business in the castle.
At the risk of blowing your mind. I guessed as much. If I were you, I'd postpone it, whatever it is. Now isn't a good time.
Why's that?
Let's just say emotions are running high right now. The flooding and all.
I'll take the risk.
Oh, for fuck's sake. All right. I'll help. I'll distract the guards so you and Milton can't sneak in. I just have one condition. No killing. If there's any of my comrades down there, you knock them out clean, then push on. Are we clear?
Crystal. Thanks, Gorn.
But there are things where I grabbed my head and asked out loud, what the fuck is this?
I'm not sure about this. Is there really no other way?
Look, I understand your need for peace and harmony. But you've been to the Sleeper Temple. You've seen that the threat is real. How can't you see that this is more important than that bloody pile of minerals? Especially as we've already established Satyrus's great escape plan either won't work or get us blown to pieces.
Guess you're right.
Why is he so erratic? He seems like a crazy person, not a calm, mysterious mage. There are tremendous technical problems with the game.
I want to buy a map.
Sorry, man. It's not going to reflect well on me if I trade with you now. But, you know what? Just wait a bit until everyone's calmed down. Then you can come back.
I made a separate video listing all the glitches and bugs that I encountered playing as a mage. The guy who came up with a stupid idea to release the game in the same week as the game festivals were running. What the hell? It was simply a bad timing. If the developers had more time to polish the product, like let's say couple weeks, maybe a month, 2 months, I don't know, the first hand-on experience could be much better. But from what I'm observing, Alkimia is doing its best to patch it all up, releasing week by week a new update. But the problems are just too huge to not to talk about. Like for instance, I couldn't progress with the story because NPCs were bugged and kept on killing me. Therefore I had to start a complete new game. Yeah, this time on a difficult level. Ridiculous, right? This should not take place. There will literally bugged quests stopping you from progressing the story. On top of that, characters often do not react to the current events around the colony. I mentioned the swamp camp, but it's more than that. I had the situation where I killed the troll in the canyon prior to Milton's arrival, and yet he didn't realize that. And the dialogues were just simply incorrect to the actions taken. There are crazy stories all over the internet surrounding the game, but yeah, conclusion is Alkimia has to work on scripting the game in much better quality and sense. The AI of the monsters is also stupid. Many times they cannot go through the obstacles on the path. As I mentioned, I played on hard, so we have a difficulty levels and they work well. The option is there, and that's good. There is also a permadeath mode, which I might try someday, if I'm crazy enough to get through all that pain again. Optimization is also an Achilles heel of the game. I am running Ryzen 9800X 3D and NVIDIA RTX 5090. This is a powerful top shelf equipment, top shelf desktop, and yet I cannot run it in smooth FPSs on the maximum settings. How is that possible? I mean, what the hell? If I cannot run it in a smooth, optimal way on the highest settings, then no one can. And don't get me started on the consoles. The game doesn't even run in full 60 FPS till this day. I know they made some improvements on that, releasing the quality and optimal settings, but there is so much more to be done in this sector. I also tested it on ROG.li, and it works there fine, but doesn't look as pretty. And while we're at it, the game visuals are quite alright. The game isn't awful by any means. On the contrary, in some places it can make you in awe. Especially the lighting is done very well. The armor's top-notch quality, but when you look at the character faces, they're mushy and not so good looking. I know, however, it's a AA game, and I know it's Alkimia's first game ever created, and I must say, including all these mistakes, problems, technical issues, it's the best debut in the gaming industry that I've seen in years. And the reason is simple. The creators knew what they were doing. They knew Gothic, and they recreated the magic of it. The difficulty of the world, the comedy set in dialogues.
I'll net back. That's how my servants call me.
I'm not seeing any servants.
Then you, my friend, are blind. My servants are everywhere. In the trees, in the flowers, in the mushrooms. They laugh, they jump, they dance. Oh, look at them. Aren't they lovely?
I better get going.
No, wait. You could help me, you know? You could help me turn this swamp into a magnificent, colorful field of flowers.
Sounds great. How about you get started already? I'll join you later.
Yes. We will be the masters of the flowers.
Don't think that guy will be any help to me.
The vibe, the inside jokes, and happenings. It all speaks Gothic. And since Gothic is a legendary game, it just is. Therefore, the conclusion is simple. If Alkimia keeps on polishing the product to the expected standard, then this is my game of the year. It certainly should be acknowledged in the Game Awards. If not, I take that as an insult. But first and foremost, the creators should be proud of what they have achieved here. Gothic Remake is a love letter to Piranha Bytes original, and I wonder what the creators like Bjorn think of it. I know they're no longer in business, but their opinion should matter. I highly recommend the game to every fan of a true RPG experience. It's our European product, and it should be celebrated and enjoyed all around the world. Not because of the sentiment, but because Gothic delivers the formula that was long forgotten, the toughness of the immersive role-playing world. Thank you to everyone who participated on that project. And I cannot truly wait for more, because Gothic 2 Remake has such a huge potential. There is even series in the works. But that's the story for another time. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Peace.